Welcome, aspirants. Today, we're going to break down one of India's oldest and, frankly, most intricate internal security challenges, the Naga Insurgency. It's a topic that has really shaped the history of Northeast India for more than 70 years.
So, what's really at the heart of this incredibly long-standing conflict, and why does a final solution seem so hard to reach? Well, to get to the bottom of it, we've got to go back, way back, to the very beginning, and trace the roots of Naga identity and their political dreams.
Okay, so to truly get a handle on this whole conflict, we have to start with the unique history of the Naga people, and, their first encounters with the idea of a modern Indian state. So check out this timeline. It really shows you how quickly the Naga political identity started to formalize. After the British came in, the real game changer was the formation of the Naga National Council, the NNC, in 1946. And get this, under their leader, A.Z. Fizo, they actually declared independence on August 14, 1947. Yeah, a day before India. This wasn't just a symbolic gesture. They backed it up with a plebiscite in 1951, which showed a huge, overwhelming vote for their own sovereignty.
And this brings us to a super important early moment, the 9-point agreement. Now, on the surface, it looked like a great step towards autonomy for the Nagas. But the entire deal, literally the whole thing, hung on one little clause, a review after 10 years. See, for the NNC, this was a potential doorway to full independence. But for the Indian government, it was just, a review of how things were being run. This massive difference in what that clause meant was the crack that just broke the entire agreement.
So, with those early agreements falling apart, the Naga struggle, as you can imagine, really intensified. And their core demands? They became a lot clearer and a whole lot more assertive. And that breakdown leads us straight to the absolute core concept of this entire conflict, Greater Nagalim. Seriously, if there's one term you have to burn into your memory from this explainer, it's this one. It is the vision of a single, unified homeland for all the Naga tribes, and it's the engine that drives every single political and territorial demand that comes after.
And just take a look at what Greater Nagalim would actually involve. We're not just talking about the state of Nagaland here, no way. It pulls in huge chunks of Manipur, parts of Assam, and Arunachal Pradesh, and even territory over in Myanmar. Right away, you can see just how complicated this is. Any agreement would mean redrawing state lines, which is exactly why finding a solution is so incredibly difficult politically.
So with peace talks basically off the table, the 1950s became this massive turning point. The NNC took up arms. They formed their own parallel government, the Naga federal government, and their own army. This was the moment, the exact moment, the political movement officially turned into the full-blown insurgency that we're talking about today.
Now, despite all that conflict, it wasn't just fighting for decades. There have been several really major attempts at peace. So let's walk through the key milestones on this very long road to a possible resolution.
This timeline is absolutely key for your exams. Notice how each step just leads right into the next. The 1975 Shillong Accord was supposed to bring peace, but instead it caused a major split which led to the creation of the more hardline NSCN in 1980. And it was this group, specifically the NSCN-IM faction, that signed that landmark 1997 ceasefire, which then paved the way for the 2015 Framework Agreement. Now, to help you remember this sequence, here's a simple mnemonic. Slowly climbing forward towards peace. That's for Shillong, ceasefire, and framework.
And this comparison does a fantastic job of showing you just how much the government's approach has evolved. The Shillong Accord back in '75, that was mainly a security-first deal, basically saying, lay down your arms. But fast forward to 2015, and the Framework Agreement takes a totally different political approach. It actually acknowledges the unique identity and history of the Nagas, which is a huge shift in both tone and substance.
Okay, so that 2015 agreement sounds great, right? A historic moment. But a final solution is still stalled. So why is that? Let's break down the key points of contention that are causing this deadlock right now. And this quote from the NSCN-IM leader, Isak-Muivah, it just perfectly sums up the current mood. The key phrase to focus on is honorable political solution. What does that tell you? It tells us that for the Naga leadership, this isn't just about administrative details. It's about getting a settlement that truly recognizes their dignity and their unique identity.
Okay, so this table boils the whole deadlock down to 3 core issues. Let's go through them. First up, sovereignty. The NSCN-IM wants something called shared sovereignty, which is a model where Nagas would have their own powers but still coexist with India. The government stance? Firmly preserving the Indian constitution as supreme. Second, the symbols. For the NSCN-IM, a separate Naga flag and their own constitution, or Yizabo, are totally non-negotiable. But for the government, that's not acceptable. And third, integration. That dream of Greater Nagalim is still there, but the government will not redraw state boundaries. These are the fundamental disagreements that are holding up a final deal.
All right, aspirants, listen up. Time to consolidate everything we've talked about. This final section has all the high-yield takeaways you absolutely need for your exams, so maybe get your phone ready for a screenshot.
Go ahead and screenshot this slide right now. This is your one-page revision guide. You've got the origins, remember FISO and the NNC. You've got the core demand, Greater Nagalim, can't forget that. Memorize the key concepts, a separate Yazabo and flag. Understand the timeline of the peace accords, Shillong, ceasefire, framework. Know the key actors. And finally, be super clear on the current stalemate over sovereignty, the flag, the Constitution, and don't forget the contentious role of FSPA in the region. This covers all the essentials you need to know.
And so, we're left with this central question, aren't we? What does a truly honorable solution actually look like? Finding a path that respects these unique aspirations while also upholding national integrity, well, that's the delicate tightrope that Indian policymakers are still walking today. Thanks so much for joining this explainer.